Hello, everybody. Once again, this is your girl Belinda here, and welcome to my show. I hope you guys are doing well today. Today, I have a really special guest with me, kind of cool. So, Sheila, tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into your story.
All right. First, let me say thank you for having me here. I'm completely honored. I I relish any opportunity to share my story in hopes of helping and encouraging someone else. My name
That's
is Sheila
awesome.
Howard. I am 55 years old. I am married and I have two biological children and five stepchildren. So altogether, I have seven children. I only
What?
because if I say seven, the story goes on. Yes,
Yeah.
ten kids.
Yes.
I have seven amazing children,
That's
and I
awesome.
have 20 grandchildren.
Wow, that's awesome. Oh my goodness.
20 beautiful, beautiful grandchildren.
Oh my goodness. You must be loving on them.
I I do. It's some of them in this house now, and I had to let them know. Look, Mima is about to. So,
Love it. I love it. I love
like,
it. Yeah, like
they said
quiet
okay,
time.
but we'll like hopefully nobody runs by.
That's
So
all right.
I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. I'm a Detroit native, but I live now in Toledo, Ohio, which is about an hour away. I'm a church musician, and I am now a health and fitness mentor. And I'm an author of one book, and I am working on my second book.
Awesome. Awesome. That is so good. I'm so happy to hear that. So guys, I can't I unlike the previous guests that I've had, I've known them, maybe even have grown up with them and all that stuff. Well, Sheila is the first person that I do not know. And but I it's kind of cool because like once we connected, we kind of it kind of flowed pretty well as if we've kind of known each other for a little bit. But her story was really what brought me to her, what made me reach out to her, because the fact that she's a little older. So the past few guests have been young, on the younger side, maybe in their late 20s, early 30s. A couple have been in their mid 40s even, but this is someone who is in their 50s and who decided to do some drastic changes in their life. And so I really hope that it also inspires that group as well, that demographic, that it is possible. That many times we do hear that, oh, at a certain age your body does so and so and it's harder to do it. Now, yes, it is true, it's harder, but it's not impossible. And so this is one of the main reasons why I decided to have Sheila on today. So we're just gonna get right into it. So as she mentioned, she wrote a book, and it's called Trapped Inside Myself. And I read it. I bought it. It's on Amazon. You can buy it in a Kindle version or a printed version. And it's called Trapped Inside Myself. It was my journey from in my obesity prison, if I remember correctly, right?
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Correct.
So so in it you mentioned, and it's a really good book. It's a short book, and it's very, it flows very well. I really like it. It's just like you were just having a conversation with someone. So that was pretty good. So in it you mentioned like you mentioned about 10 defining moments in your life, that made you realize that you needed to have a change. So we're going to start a little bit prior to that. So tell us what you were experienced prior, and then maybe share like two of those defining moments that really is like the bigger. It's hard to pick two that are bigger ones because I feel like all of them were like big defining moments, but choose two and share with us like what how they were able to make you feel like, okay, I need to change. So go ahead.
Okay, so one of them, which is some might consider small, but it was huge for me,
Hmm.
was chairs. Imagine living a life where everywhere you went, you were nervous because you didn't know if you were gonna fit in a chair. Can you? Everywhere you go, everywhere I went, it was on my mind.
Wow.
Where we want to go out to dinner after church. Yay, let's go. And I would immediately get anxious on the inside.
Mm.
I love the fellowship and I love to hang out with people, but I would be like, oh my God, where are we going? Oh, are we going to Ramtorn? Oh my God, that's the one with the small booths that I might not
Mm.
fit in. Or there, that's the restaurant that has the chairs with the arms that I can't fit in because of the arms. So I would have this anxiety about every place I went all the time, and it never cut off. So where chair. Not a big deal for somebody, but it was a constant. Getting ready to go to. I remember one year we were going to a teenager was graduating. We were going to her open house. We got to the backyard and I looked around and I saw those white plastic recent chairs, and my anxiety just went through the roof. Like, can't sit in those chairs and
Mm.
soft ground. We sink in, the legs kind of turn, and I saw them turning on people who weren't obese. So I knew I couldn't sit in the chair. So my mind is zooming. How do I pull the host to the side and say, can you give me a chair from inside the house so I can,
Mm.
so that's a series of defining moments. It's like, you can't keep living like this.
Right. Now, before you get to the second one, so how much how what was the size? Like what was your weight at that point?
Um, like at probably around 325,
Okay,
something like
okay.
that.
All right.
But the anxiety of the chairs, I want to say, started around 250, 260. That's when I started noticing that my weight was affecting, was making it hard for me to get into chairs, and then you can feel the uneasiness of the legs, and what my weight was doing to the legs,
Wow.
and it just
Okay.
really worked.
Wow. Okay. So what was a second defining moment for you?
Second defining moment was stair climbing, and I
Mm.
talk about it in the book. We went to a baseball game
I
at
remember that story. Yep.
America Park. It was the day that I literally, truly, with all my heart, thought I was going to die. We climbed the stair. We got some free tickets from work. So I was excited. I hadn't been to the Comerica Park, was relatively new. It was a new field. And I'm not into baseball or anything, but it was like, hey, free tickets, let's go. We go, and of course, free tickets usually way up there somewhere.
Yep.
But you're not
They
gonna go
may you
right?
definitely pay for those free tickets in some
Right,
form or fashion.
exactly. That was the price. I almost paid with my life.
Yes.
So we climbed the stairs, we climbed the stairs. And my husband and my coworkers were just going upstairs, like normal people. And I was struggling, and but I was trying to play it off because I didn't want to be embarrassed. There's thousands of people out there, so I kept trying to walk up there's a long, wide stairs and not regular stairs. Stadium stairs are really wide,
Mhm. Mhm.
and by the time I got to the top, my heart was felt like it was coming out of my chest. I was uh, starting to sweat, and it wasn't a normal accelerated heartbeat. It felt
Mm.
abnormal, and I really felt like I was going to die. And then I got to the top, and I could, of course, barely fit into the
The cheers.
stadium. So I wedged into the seat, and the pain of the metal was
Mm.
just digging into my body. And I wanted to cry, but it was too many people around. My friend was there and her husband, and I was trying to I don't want to bring everybody down and say, hey, I think I'm about to die over here. But but it is funny now, but it was not funny then.
No, right.
And I was whispering to my husband, like, my heart it's just beating through my chest. He's like, you okay? I was like, I don't know. You might have to call an ambulance. I'm so scared. But I had this vision of an ambulance coming, bringing that gurney up, putting
Mm.
me on the gurney. I would be too big for the gurney, and it would be dragging me down. My mind was racing. It was
Mm.
terrible. And I sat there and I was like, you can't go on like this. Now, I wish I had only, Belinda had one or two defining moments, but I had several. And I had too many to even put in the book. So it wasn't
Mm.
like I wasn't trying, but the things that I had tried weren't working. So I knew at some point I had to do something different. I didn't want to die. I don't want to die at the ballpark.
Yeah, no kidding. I no kidding. And you kind of went on
Yeah,
about like how you saw the headlines and all that stuff, what it was
yeah,
reading. And
yeah,
but you're right though. Our mind just starts going down this like rabbit hole and we
yeah,
can come up with all these crazy stories. I'm
yeah,
glad that nothing happened to you that day, but I mean it's a valid fear is what I'm getting at. It's a valid fear.
it
Now,
was terrifying.
yeah. So now tell us a little bit. Let's go back a little bit. So you were around in the threes. Now, what do you think got you to how do you think, what was the triggering point for you? Like, what was the root cause? Because I know that you did mention that in your book, in terms of when people when they're starting to go through their journey to find the root cause of their issue. So tell us a little bit about what you think your root cause was.
So I now absolutely know what the root cause was. At the time, I didn't, because I was always trying to fix myself. I don't live in denial, so I was never that person that was obese and thought it was cute and excused it away or dressed it up cute and say, hey, I'm just thick. I didn't call myself thick. I was overweight and then I was obese and I knew it. And I didn't think it was cute. So I walk in reality, and I knew something was wrong. Tried the different thing. I tried the Weight Watchers. I tried my primary care physician put me on different diets, and I tried shakes. I tried diet pills. Tried all these different things, but none of them would work. And I thought it was just, it's kind of odd how things work. Something works for somebody. Why wasn't there nothing worked for me? So I even hired a personal trainer. She worked me out. She put me on a plan. She worked the dog out of me. And I was very diligent because I like to work out even when I was heavy. It did something for me, and I enjoyed it. But after spending a lot of money and a lot of time with my personal trainer, I still wasn't losing weight. Mm-hmm. And I had to find out what it was. And so I kept going to my primary care physician. And one day she was staring at me, and she said, she was looking at my numbers. She was, looking at my numbers and things. She was like, and she said, looks like your neck is a little puffy, and you might have a thyroid situation. And I said, well, I got it checked a few years ago when I had another doctor, and they ruled that out. She said, sometimes, the results are wrong. I'm going to send you to an endo and get you checked out. Lo and behold, I did have a extremely underactive thyroid, and to boot, I had a huge goiter and a bunch of nodules. And if you know anything about a thyroid, it is the organ that controls your weight loss, your weight gain, your ability to lose weight.
Mine controls your whole metabolism.
The whole metabolism. Well, mine wasn't working. So that's the reason why no matter what I did, it was not working. So we watched it a while, and eventually it got so big we had to have it removed. Mm-hmm. So now I knew why I was gaining weight. Now I knew why there was this inability to lose weight. So it was a huge relief. It didn't change anything. By this time I was 350. I was still 350, but at least I knew, why. At least I knew why. Now, in addition to that, if I'm going to be completely honest, in addition to that, even I wasn't a horrible eater. I wasn't a horrible eater. My mother is a health nut. So, I got a good base. But even though I wasn't a horrible eater, I would say my portion control may have been off. And I wasn't eating as many times a day as I should. I was that person that ate once or twice a day, the big portion. So, breakfast, lunch, maybe not. They come home and eat, 2-3 helpings of spaghetti. That was me. I wasn't educated on fueling the body, eating several times a day. So that was the part that I just didn't. I was uneducated on the best way to eat. So that's the part I own up to. But for me, my situation, it was hypothyroidism was the main culprit.
So now, when were you diagnosed with hypothyroidism?
I want to say it was in 2005, I want to say, or 2000. And then they removed my thyroid in 2007 or 8.
Okay. So now, prior to 2005, you were steadily gaining weight. Were you trying anything when you noticed that you were gaining weight, or what was happening around that time?
Yeah, I joined Weight Watchers. Nothing happened. Grandchild.
Yeah.
Again, my doctor had me on these shakes. I was drinking these shakes. They were meal replacements. I was doing that. And again, the personal trainer. So I was always trying things on. I bought a few self-help books. and tried to follow those plans. But when something on the inside isn't working right, it kind of doesn't matter. What you have to fix the problem
Yeah.
first,
Yeah.
and no matter what that is. For a lot of obese people, it is food related. Their relationship with food is the issue, and oftentimes there's a reason why they develop this bad relationship with food. So until you fix the reason, you'll continue down that road. So same
Absolutely.
thing with physical. So for me, it was something physical, and it was physical combined with bad habits. So when you
Hmm.
put the two together, it was a fail.
Right. 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 Okay. So now, now you mentioned that you in your book you talked about how you went through weight loss surgery. Now you are the third person actually on this show that actually went through that process, went that route. And um, what were some of the myths or misconceptions that you had about weight loss surgery prior to actually saying, okay, I'm going to do this?
So I had a few. One of them was uh, for me, my primary care physician brought it up to me, and for me, it felt like I was giving up. Like I wanted to keep trying on my own. So for me, weight loss surgery felt like a concession. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can't do it on your own. It felt like I was like a point of giving up. Initially, that's how
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
felt. And there was also some fear. I knew a couple of folks that had weight loss surgery. One person, there was a problem in surgery, and they ended up uh, having a lot of medical complications um, following the surgery. That made me nervous. And
Mm.
then the other thing was I knew folks, I think everybody does, knew folks that had that surgery, and a year or two later, they regained all the weight.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
you see all these different things, you hear these different things,
Yeah.
and it's, you know what, no, because, no, mm-mm. And no one's just gung ho to just jump on the table. So I'm not
Right.
just, it's not like, who wants to just have
Right.
surgery? So I had all those things going through my mind. But for me, it was mostly about feeling like a failure. I didn't
Mm.
want to feel like a failure. I didn't have a problem with other people having, like, some people discount your journey or discount your progress because it was kickstarted by weight loss surgery. I never felt that way. I felt like, hey, look, whatever you need to do to
Yeah.
get to where you get,
Yeah.
do that.
Right.
Do
Right.
that.
Right.
I never felt that way, thank God. But there have been people that have treated me like that.
Mm-hmm.
They asked about my journey, and the moment I say weight loss surgery was the kickoff, they start tuning me out.
Yeah, and it's
So,
it's and it's
I
unfortunate because I like you
really,
mentioned in your book that it's a tool. It's not necessarily you're not cheating. It's a tool, but guess what? You still have to do work afterwards. You know what I mean? It's not like you just do the thing and then that's it. You just go on living life as usual. So I've noticed that that's something that folks kind of frown on, like, but then because they don't understand that part,
yeah,
right? They don't
understand.
understand that part. Yeah. So yeah, keep going. So and so when did you decide that you're definitely going to do it?
So my primary care physician brought it up to me, and this is
Yeah,
something I talked about in the book. She brought it up to me a few times, and one day
I
I
remember
said,
that. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, yeah, doctor, I don't mean no harm, but can you just not bring that up to me? Look, could you not bring that up to me again? Because I am not doing it. I'm gonna do this on my own. And she said, she looked over her glasses. She said, okay, I won't. About a year went by. I kept coming in her office every time, 10 or 15 pounds heavier, every time. And she waited about a year, and I probably had seen her maybe 3 times throughout the year because I was going more and more often because I was getting sicker and sicker, and I would have more and more ailments coming up on me. So it wasn't like
Mm-hmm.
I had any physical. I was going up in there every 3 to 4 months for something.
Mm, mm.
So I guess she was like, look. So she said, she brought it up, and I said, respectfully, but still probably with a little to it. I asked you. not to bring that up to me again. And my doctor, bless her heart, she was soft, she's very soft spoken. And she looked down over that laptop and she looked at me and she raised her voice and she said, "You can't do this on your own. You
Mm.
need help. You need help. You have a condition, and the condition you have won't allow you to lose on your own. You need help."
Wow.
And I sat there like, the doctor yelling at me, so the tears started rolling down my eyes.
Wow.
Your doctor raises their voice and brings tears, man. It was you talking about an awakening moment. So she cared enough to chastise me.
Mm.
She could have just been like, as long as she keeps on this path, that's more money for me because she gonna keep coming in here, getting these prescriptions, getting these appointments, and that's more money for me.
Yep.
And she could have easily done that,
Absolutely.
but she
Absolutely.
enough to push me in that direction. And even when I saw her afterwards, and I took her my book, she said, whenever I uh, tell someone or refer someone to weight loss surgery and they go and they get healthy, I never see them again. And she laughed about it, years later. But it was that push that
Mm.
to the seminar or the consultation to at least hear about it. So the consultation dispelled a lot of my um, misconceptions about the procedures, and they let me know there were different types of procedures and kind of what it all involved. And it gave me something to think about as opposed to just ruling it out.
Right, 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 right. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you went through the process, you did the procedure. And what year was this? Just so we can have like a nice like little timeline.
So the procedure actually happened in 2015. Now all of that happened with my doctor, I want to say in 2012.
Okay.
So I went through a bariatric program in Michigan. I was still living in Michigan, and I got all the way to the end of the program. Most programs are anywhere from 6 months to a year,
Mm-hmm.
where they put you in classes and teaching you how to eat, teach you how to how you're gonna eat before surgery and after surgery, and all of the self care and everything you need to know. I got all the way to the end of that program and I had an appointment for my weight loss surgery. I was so excited. I think I was around 40, 47 years old. And one day, my whole right side of my arm swelled up.
Mm.
My hand, actually, my right side of my body, but especially my arm and hand, my face. And it was painful. Back and forth to the doctor, to the ER for 2, 3 days. Called my doctor. She said, meet me at her hospital. Short story, I got diagnosed with leukemia. Um, Once I was diagnosed with leukemia, they told me the weight loss surgery was we're gonna have
Was
to put
off.
that on the
Mm.
back shelf. Right? We can't just we have to deal with chemo now and what we're gonna how we're gonna move forward. And so the whole weight loss surgery was off the table.
Hmm.
So I was really sad. Like I said, I was literally an appointment away from receiving my
Yeah.
diagnosis. And then I was also terrified and sad because I had done some research and I had found that folks with obesity are far more likely to get cancer than folks that are not.
Mm.
So in the back of my mind, really not even in the back of my mind, the forefront of my mind was, did my obesity help cause me to have cancer? If I had done
Right.
something about this, maybe I wouldn't have cancer. And it's a strong possibility. I don't have any way to confirm that, but highly possible. So they put that on hold for about 3 years before weight loss surgery was put back on the table, and that's because when they do weight loss surgery, you have a smaller tummy, and they didn't know how the chemo was going to
Affect it.
react
Yeah. Hmm.
smaller tummy. So once I take a daily oral chemo. So my chemo is for life. I'll take a daily oral chemo, and I responded really well to it. So after almost 3 years, they put the weight loss surgery back on the table. So it was actually 2015 when I got the weight loss surgery. By this time, I'm 50 years old.
Wow. Wow. That's crazy. But it's just like how did you feel? I mean, I remember you kind of went into it in the book, like you felt like you were mentioning that you felt like you were finally making the progress towards making the change, and then you just got like boom, like smacked in the
Mhm.
face with like one big thing. So how did tell us a little bit about that?
What's really messed up? Um, I, even though I was devastated, you
Mm,
hear cancer, it's devastating.
yeah.
But what was extra sad was that I still kept thinking about my obesity.
Hmm.
It was like I should be really like laser focused on the cancer, but still I was like, this means you still have to stay big. You still have to stay fat. So now you got cancer and obesity. And yeah, and I feel like I shouldn't my focus shouldn't have even been on the weight part
Right.
because it should be all on that. But that's how much being obese was weighing, literally weighing on me, that even cancer didn't seem
Wow.
to perceive the obesity because it literally affected every
Everything.
of my life. There was nothing that wasn't affected by my weight. I went to sleep in pain. I slept through the night in pain. I woke up in pain. I walked around the house in pain, getting in and out of the car in pain, sitting at my desk at work in pain. So
Mm.
I could never turn it off. So now, I have this cancer on top of it. And it for me, and I don't even know if I said this in the book or not, I can't remember. But I asked my oncologist, I said, since I have cancer, will I lose weight? Will it help me lose weight? And she looked at me, and I don't think I told this in the book. I don't know if I said it
No,
to anybody.
I don't think I read that.
And she looked at me and she was like, probably not, Sheila, but that's not anything you should be worried about right now.
Mm.
That's how desperate I was. I was like, well, most people that get most
Yeah.
people that get cancer, they lose
Right.
weight. They
Right.
lose weight. They get on cancer, they lose weight. I was like, I would get the cancer that won't let me lose weight.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
Oh my god!
That is crazy. Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness.
Crazy.
She's probably
I'm
like,
just
what
saying,
is she thinking?
what did you think? You asked me about
Yes.
weight loss. You got
Right.
cancer, but how desperate.
Yes.
That's how desperate I was, and that was I don't know if I've ever shared that with anybody. I think I may have told my husband that. I'm not even sure, but that's how desperate I was. I felt like in my mind, okay, so I have this issue, but do I have to have two? In my mind, it's
Yes.
like eliminate. You know what I
One.
mean?
Yeah.
Eliminate one of these.
Oh
That's
my
how my
goodness.
that's how
No,
my mind.
absolutely. Because I mean, yeah, like you were like it consumed your life, and then you had this other thing on top of you. Like, well, can one cancel out so I can just focus on just one? Oh my goodness. All right. So then you went through the process. You were finally able to go through the procedure at 50, which is amazing. So you went through the process, and like, so how was it like afterwards? How was it like adapting to the new lifestyle? Like, what were some of the tools or methods or like habits that you changed? Maybe things that you were taught in prior to surgery that you were able to use to help you with the weight loss after surgery.
So I would say the biggest thing and the most notable thing for me was I eat now 6 to 8 times a day, small
Okay.
meals. Like sometimes they're more like snacks. So I eat all day. So every 2, 3 hours, it's like I'm hungry. And before again, I ate large portions a
Yep.
couple times.
Yeah.
And I remember I had a coworker, her name was Billy, and she was thin and lean, and she knew I was struggling, and she came over to my desk one time, and she said, Sheila, you should just eat small meals. I eat all day long. She had to be about 110 pounds, maybe. And she was like, eat, help me. And she was like, eat several times a day. Your body needs fuel, da 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 da. And I tried, and it just didn't. I don't know. It didn't work for me, or my mind wasn't all the way there. And again, I had thyroidism and didn't know it. But I get it now.
Hmm.
The food is like fuel now. So every time I need fuel, I go get some more fuel. Just like you go to the gas station, and put fuel in your
Hmm.
car. You don't necessarily wait until it's depleted. You don't wait till it's on E or
Yeah.
beyond E. You're gonna
Right.
get something before it gets to eat. So that's how I eat now. That's a huge difference for me. And also now I eat a high protein, low carb, low calorie diet. Whereas before, when I think about it now, a lot of carbs, a lot of carbs. Again, I wasn't educated,
Hmm.
so I ate a lot of carbs, and again, I ate larger portions than
Right.
I should have. And hours went by without me eating. It would be no, it's nothing for before. It would be nothing for 10 or 12 hours to go by. So it was. They call it intermittent fasting, but it wasn't intermittent
No,
fasting
it
for me. It
wasn't.
was bad. It was bad habit. It was just it was lack of knowledge. So so those are the most noticeable things about my diet that has helped. And with weight loss surgery, the kind of that the smaller portions more often it kind of pushes you in that direction because you can only eat so much at one time. So it promotes the several meals a day. It promotes it because you can only eat so
Right.
much. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
So
Yep. 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 Absolutely. So now, one thing that you did mention was you mentioned that consistency, especially in the beginning. You said in the beginning, consistency is more important than quantity, and I really like that line because I think a lot from for many of us, in our journey in the health journey, we struggle with consistency. It's like we stop, we start, we stop, and so like, how are you able to develop consistency so to keep you from going back, like how are you able to maintain that level of consistency?
So it's a mind thing. So with everything that I had gone through to get all the way up to weight loss surgery, I was like ultra focused. Like my
Right.
mind extremely made up. It didn't come easy for me. Some things seems like other things like this come easy for everybody else. We're like, oh, I have weight loss surgery. They go down there, sign up a paper 3 months later, they boom. But not
Yeah.
for me. It took
Right.
years for me to even get weight loss surgery. So for me, it was like a precious gift. I was not going to waste it.
Mm.
So I followed my doctor and my nutritionist instructions to the T. They gave us a manual. It was like my Bible.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Yep.
it was like my Bible. And I stayed and I still have it. It's 5 years later, and I still have it. I don't need it, but I still have it.
Yep.
And I paid it. I read it over and over and over. I paid attention to it. I made a grocery shopping list. My husband went shopping for me, got me everything I needed, and I did not deviate from the plan. It was too important. It was too important for me. I had gone 50 years, well, not 50 years, but most of my adult life I spent overweight and obese, and this was my chance. And I was not going to let my age stop me. I was not going to let
Mm.
being 50 now stop me. And my thought, it was like, okay, I could say I'm 50 is too late, but I pictured myself at 70 saying, if you just think if you had done something 20 years ago when you were 50, you wouldn't be in this shape now. I pictured myself. I used to watch those shows with Dick Gregory, and people would be so large that they had to come and cut the wall out to get them out, to take them to the hospital, cut the door and all of that out. I kept picturing myself. This is before my 600-pound life and all those shows were out. Dick
Yeah.
Gregory was that would come and save the people, and I pictured myself being one of those people at 70, stuck in a bed, stuck in a house, people coming to feed me and bathe me. Like for me, that
Mm.
I couldn't. No,
Okay. Yeah.
so I was like, you can do something, let this happen now in your late 40s, early 50s, or have regrets in your 70s.
Yep.
So I was like, if I even got to my 70s, and
You
that's
know,
another thing.
that was another thing too, and I kind of was thinking that it could have been possible that you may not have gotten that far either.
And I had gotten,
Yeah.
and I had gotten. And my grandchildren were also a motivator for me. My
Mm.
grandchildren started coming. I was a couch grandma. I was sitting on the couch saying, "Oh, bring me that toy, hand me that." I was already starting, and I was in my 40s, and I was already
Mm.
getting up off the couch was a big thing. It was to the point my husband used to have to come over. He had a thing. I'll grab his pants like this
Hmm.
and rock, and he pulled me up off the couch.
Wow.
This was happening in my 40s.
Wow.
So I was, we can't. I started buying furniture with arms on it to help push me up. So I was starting to uh, adapt to
Mm.
things in my life to help me with the obesity, and it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. I
Yes.
don't want to buy larger clothes to fit the body. I don't want to buy furniture to help me stay in my prison.
Yes.
How I felt like I was a prisoner. I would literally look in the mirror and talk to myself. And I was like, you're trapped in there, but the real you is in there. You're gonna
Mm.
find your way out. I literally said this in the mirror to myself. This is not even the real you, Sheila. This is not even what you look like. People think this is what you look like. This is not what you look like. This is not even the person that you really are. You're gonna fight your way out of this. So I stopped accommodating the obesity. If it's gonna be, it's gonna have to be uncomfortable because I don't want.
Mm.
I remember buying a chair, like I said, to help me get up. So if my husband wasn't there, I wasn't stuck
Yep.
sitting in a chair. But I stopped doing that. So I had to come to grips with it. That's some of those defining moments. Again, that couldn't fit in the book because I wanted to be a short read, but some of those defining moments that wouldn't fit in the book. But yeah, those are the things that pushed me along the way. I was so motivated. My mind was made up. Some people, unfortunately, their mind isn't all the way in the game, and they do, unfortunately, think that the surgery alone is going to be like a magic pill. They're
Mhm.
going to drop 100 pounds and live happily ever after and go right back to their um, bad habits. I knew better, and I was in so much pain that I made up my mind that that was not going to be my story. So I needed to do everything I could to for that not to be my story. And writing the book helps make me accountable. Like I can't write
Mm.
a story and then somebody see me 3 or 4 years later
And be like,
and I'm
wasn't that?
good.
It was like, wasn't that Sheila about like trapped in her prison? Like, what happened? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It definitely will help you to stay accountable. That's for sure. So I'm gonna shift now from um the eating and the habits into exercising. So one thing that you did mention was that you were having some bone pain or a lot of joint pain or what have you. Now, and with exercising, obviously you're doing movement, so then that would be sometimes maybe even exacerbate the pain. So how were you able to um exercise, or how did you commit to exercise and push through even while you were experiencing the pain? And what was the pain caused from? Was it the obesity or was it like something else?
It was a combination. So, when you're obese, and again, I wasn't just overweight, I was morbidly obese. And when you're obese, the weight puts a lot of
Mm-hmm.
extra pressure on your joints. So there was that. And I had got diagnosed with arthritis years before, probably in my mid to late 30s. So I had arthritis going on. I had obesity putting extra pressure on my joints, and then the bone cancer. So my leukemia is a bone cancer. So my bones were hurting, like literally hurting deep on the inside um, from the leukemia. And apparently I had it for many years. I just didn't know it. And I even remember saying to my friends,
Wow.
it hurts like deep on the inside, and I couldn't explain it. I didn't know it to be my bones, but my pain didn't feel surface. It wasn't like my knee hurts. It was like whatever's further deep inside of there was hurting. So
Mm.
it was the leukemia. It had been wreaking havoc for many years before the diagnosis. So all of those things together made for excruciating pain. My mindset was this: you're going to be in pain at home, sitting on the couch, or you're going to be in pain here at the gym. Why
Mm.
not be in pain at the gym? And I've always
Wow.
loved to exercise. I was exercising even before the weight started coming off. I was at the gym. I didn't share it like a lot on social media and everything because people were probably going like, "Yeah, right. Yeah, you're at the gym." They see someone from um, I'm going to the gym at my little bag. They're looking at me like, "Girl, you're not going to the gym.
Yeah,
You're going to
right.
get something." But people are
Yeah, girl, you're
judgmental.
not
Like,
making it.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine. I was going to the gym before it, but I couldn't do much. I would just walk on the treadmill. I would get on the elliptical, three or
Mm,
five. I would just do what I could, and it gave me stamina and energy, and I just took it for what it was worth. But after the weight started coming off, even though the pain was still there, um, I saw progress, and the progress served as a motivator, and it hurt. And I'm not gonna lie, there's times that I would be at the gym
mm,
crying. I would be walking, and there would be tears rolling down my eyes because it hurt so badly. But again, as the weight started decreasing, so did the pain. So even though, I couldn't
mm,
necessarily control all of the bone pain from the leukemia and the chemo, I did have some control over, how the weight was putting that pressure on my
mm.
joints. So that part started to decrease.
Yep.
And hey,
Yep.
any decrease is great.
Wow.
So the pain definitely started to decrease because I took, that part out of the equation. So there's still pain now. Again, of a combination of, it's the ironic part is the leukemia causes bone pain, and then one of the side effects of my chemo is bone pain. So boom, I'm gonna have bone pain. Like I kind of
I see.
lose,
Okay.
but and then there's still the arthritis, but it's still, honestly, it's nowhere near as bad as it was before. But we have to push through pain. Your mind over matter is real. To a degree. I mean, obviously there's some pain that's excruciating that will knock you to your knees. I know
Mhm.
that. But for the most part, some of our daily pain, some of our daily discomforts we can push through once we make up our mind. And when I tell you
Mm,
my mind is super made up, like I knew what I wanted, I knew what I needed, and I wasn't gonna let pain stop me.
mm. Wow. Wow. I love that mindset. And I mean, I know it's not everyone has their different tolerance level when it comes to pain, but I guess your desire to not be obese so much was so up there. Was you know what I mean? Was it kind of like almost overrode the pain that you not overrode it, but like even though you were experiencing it, you were like, nope, I still have a goal and I have to push through. But you're right though, like you're gonna have pain whether you're sitting or whether you're standing or whether you're at the gym. So at least do some while you're doing something to actively, change things. At least even if you're experiencing pain, at least you're actively trying to change something at that point. I love
Exactly.
that. I love that mindset. I love that mindset. Now you hit also in that same paragraph, you were talking about like different exercises that you were trying out. Which one is your favorite? Because you mentioned like hit workouts, yoga, or bike riding, whatever. Like, so what's your favorite?
Running is my favorite. Well, it's a tight between running
Really?
lifting. Lifting
Okay.
for me, I love because it builds and sculpts. It sculpts the body, and it sculpts the muscles. And quiet as it's kept, when I was a teenager, I was fascinated with women bodybuilders, and no one knew it, but I had a
Okay.
picture of a woman in my bedroom. I put it above my mirror. I wasn't overweight or anything. I was skinny. I was probably about 105 pounds, and I put a picture of a woman bodybuilder in my room. And I went to the store and I got me some little dumbbells and I had a little workout outfit, and I would be in my room just fine to working out. This was a teenager. I've always been fascinated with muscular builds. Like I wanted that. And so here, way on the other side, I was like, I still want that. I'm not to compete, not to be on stage in the bikini, in a sparkly bikini and compete, but
Right, right.
but I love that build. So weightlifting for me help me to sculpt my body in the way that I want. So that's one of them. But running for me is everything, and I think that's largely because I couldn't run before. I think that's really it. I couldn't run before. I can
Mm.
remember why even as a child I struggled to run. We was time to run for the ice cream truck. I was always the one in the back. When the teacher said run around, run 5 laps around the gym before you could do free play,
Mhm.
everybody's done and over there playing, and I would still be. It didn't have anything to do with weight. I was a kid. I didn't weigh anything, but I
Mm.
could run. I don't know why. I didn't have any air. I didn't have any wind. So when I finally started running, the first day I ran, I was down about 50 pounds. I was on the treadmill and I was walking really fast. I was doing something. I was walking really
Mm-hmm.
fast.
Mm-hmm.
Fast that I felt my feet lift up. And I said, wait, am I running? Am I like almost running? Am I running? Let me see if I can run. Purposely run.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I up because I couldn't lift them before. My legs, were like, this. To lift that up off the
Mm.
ground, joke. And I was running. I lifted my feet up off the floor and I saw that I was running. So I'm at the gym,
Wow.
like I'm running. I'm running. I'm
Wow.
running. And I'm sobbing. If anybody walked by, they was like,
Wow.
lady. I was running and I was so excited that I ran, and I never stopped. So running for me is exhilarating because once I couldn't, now I can. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's amazing, like the little things we take for granted that we can do that, maybe you just don't think about it. You're like, oh yeah, whatever. And then like, like your story and you're like, I couldn't do it before, but now I can. So you like love it. And to me, when you said running, I'm just like, that is like one of the most high impact exercises ever. And like for in terms of like your bone pain, I'm just like, well, why would she say that? But now it makes sense. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because it's like you couldn't do it before, but now you can. So it's just like amazing.
And I'm not a fast. I don't run necessarily fast. Um, I you
Mhm,
know
mhm,
I do a run walk. I take my breaks in between. But I think I've done
mhm,
four
mhm.
5Ks to date. I've done 4 5Ks.
That's
So
awesome.
first 5K I
That's
did,
that's
I was
awesome.
in Detroit and I did my first 5K. And when I crossed that finish line, I did a ugly cry. You hear me? I did a ugly cry because
That is
couldn't believe
awesome.
I ran I ran walk, which most of the people do. The non-actual runners, we run walk, run walk, run walk. But I did most of it was running, and it was 90 something degrees that day, and I made it to the finish line and got my little medal.
Wow.
Oh, it was just I was oh man, that's one of the happiest and proudest moments
That's
of my life.
amazing.
And the fact that I did that, because like a year and a half before that, I could barely walk. In fact, I had gotten a cane and I had
Yes,
started
yes.
using it. So to go from a cane to running a
Wow.
5K, it was huge for me. It was huge.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. That is amazing. That is amazing. Now, one of the things that I did like about your story is how much you weaved faith into it. As a woman of faith, like one thing that you said is like you had faith, but then you understood that now you had to do the work. You know what I mean? That you had faith that you would go through the procedure and everything would be well, but now you have to actually do the work part in order to accomplish the goal. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've been in the church my entire life, and even as a child, I was a listener, and I was learning and paying attention. And I always heard them say, "Faith without works is dead," and it made sense to me then, but it really made sense to me as an adult. You can want something all you want, and you can say you believe it, but you have to do your part. So,
Hmm.
I trusted God to get me out of the situation that I was in. But God gives us free will. He gives us choices, right? So I could say
Yep,
I trust
yep,
God
yep, yep.
to get me out of obesity and sit back on the couch and do nothing. But that's not how it works. He
Mm,
gives us these free will
right.
choices, and it's up to us to make the right choices and decisions. So that's strictly the word. So I knew that there was my part that I had to do, and I didn't have a problem doing my part. I felt like if God opened the door, He gave me that avenue with the weight loss surgery, with the personal trainers, with the bariatric program,
Mm,
with whatever He surrounded me with these different resources. It was up to me to take advantage of those resources and get everything out of them that I
absolutely.
could. And that's what I did. did. So I'm
Mm.
not sitting around talking about I'm looking for a miracle in like this. So I'm looking for them. Yeah, I am looking
Mm.
for a miracle to be out there getting. So yeah, for me, eating right is part of the works. Exercising is part of the
Mm-hmm.
works, and staying prayerful and connected to
Mm-hmm.
God is part of the works.
That's awesome. Yeah, those three are key, especially the last one. And sometimes I do actually, if I do have a client that's like a Christian that I know is a Christian, I'm like, you know what? You need to tap on the power of God to help you because there's some things that you need an extra boost that we may not be, especially if you're struggling with some type of addiction or
Mhm.
something. You need something outside of yourself to almost help you with it. So it's very important to tap into the that power that power that is bigger than ourselves, that God power to help us push through and get us to where to first to achieve the better the version of ourselves, the higher version of ourselves that we're looking to achieve. Because as you said in your book, it's once you start to experience a different part of you, different you're better served in a way, you know what I mean, when you are in that better state, you know what I mean. You can't pour from an empty cup. So if you are in a sick or whatever state, it's more challenging for you to actually do the things that you know that God has placed in your life to do. So in order for it's part of the process
Absolutely.
that you have to ask God to like really help you with that, because he has a desire, he has things for you to do too, he has an assignment for you to do, and sometimes it's harder for us to achieve those assignments if we are focused on the fact that if we're trapped in ourselves basically, you know what I mean. So I
Exactly.
really like that your story incorporated the faith factor as well, because that is super super important. So that's awesome, that's awesome. Now,
Even
were you going to
even
say
in
something?
my
Sorry.
even in my worship experience to God, there were limitations because of the situation I was in. Even as a musician,
Mm,
as a
mm,
organist or playing keyboard, that it's my job, but it's my service to God. Even with that, even going to again, we're back to the seats, we're back to the chairs. Even going to sit down to do my work was an issue when I couldn't sit
mm.
on every bench. As I go to perform my service,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying?
Mhm, mhm,
Problem. Getting on my knees to pray. It's just something as simple, getting on my knees
mm,
to pray. The pain would be excruciating. And then if I got down on my knees to
mm,
pray at church, how would I get up? So those things, like you said, that people
mm,
take for granted, was an issue for me. And maybe the people want to go out to the nursing homes and pray for people and do different things. Every little thing, it was in the way of every little thing, getting in and out of the car. Just extremely tired, too tired to be a part of these different things. So the obesity was feeding into even into my ability to actively worship God.
mm,
I can worship with my heart and my mind, obviously.
mm,
But there, as far as ministry, there were some restrictions. So it is
mm,
very much spiritual, physical, and He gave us these bodies as our personal gifts. These are our temples, and we make choices on what we put in them, what we
mhm,
do with them, and there's a direct
mhm,
a relation to what you do with your body and with God. So if He gave me this gift and I value this gift and I appreciate this gift, what I put in this body, what I do to this body, and what I do with this body is how I honor God.
mm.
So feeding
Absolutely.
it that shouldn't be inside, or overfeeding it, or consuming anything um, that knowingly causes damage and knowingly dishonors it, dishonors God.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow, that's awesome. Now, in chapter 13, you spoke about making time for yourself and making yourself a priority. And I know that's something that a lot of women struggle with, making themselves a priority, because it's somehow they view it as being selfish. So how were you able to make yourself a priority, and how were you able to verbalize that to your family that you needed to do that for you first, but then also for them as well.
Now, when I was your age, I'm gonna be honest, it still would have been harder. And you've got four little ones, you said. I had two little ones in my house.
Yep.
And I'm going to be honest, that's something that would have still been harder for me to do when they were
Mm.
younger. Motherhood it just takes a lot of time and a lot of commitment. And I'm be honest, I don't have any regrets. Even though I did neglect myself, I don't really have any regrets for any time that I spent with my kids and doing with my kids. And it was a choice I made. I have zero regrets on what I did with them. I do wish that I had given more time to myself. I do, but it doesn't make me regret, the time that I spent with them.
I see what you're saying.
Now,
Yep. Yep.
when my journey got real at 50, my kids were grown.
Right.
Woo.
Right. Right. Right.
So honestly, it free. I had a lot more free time to devote to myself. I do encourage younger
I
women
see.
like your age to make that time now. You don't have to wait until you're 50 and your kids
Yep.
are grown. Figure it out now, even if
Mm-hmm.
you have to do it at home, even if you just carve out a space at
Mm-hmm.
home for yourself to read, to exercise, to pray, and you put your kids in their
Mm-hmm.
routine. You're like, oh, this is mommy time. If obviously if they're babies, that might be a little
Yep.
different. But your husband can help. Your oldest
Right.
child can
Right.
help
Right.
with that. It's not going to be cookie cutter. It's not going to be the same for
Yeah.
every
Absolutely.
for every woman. Um, but you find your time, your way on your schedule with your family. You tailor it to you. But even now, I
Absolutely.
help with
Absolutely.
my grandkids, and but they know when Mima goes into the gym, so they know. Sometimes they work out, but
Bye.
sometimes they work out with me. Yep, I let them come in and work out with me at the end of my workout because I'm trying to get them to learn to appreciate working out too. But my family has never, ever, not one time given me an issue with me taking my me time. They support me. I happen to have an amazing support system. My husband, like anything that I desire, anything I'm trying to do, he's got my back
Amen.
100%.
That's awesome.
Never had any pushback at all. The same with my children, always been extremely supportive. So I've never
That's
had
awesome.
that issue. And even if I had done this years ago, I get the feeling it would have been the same way. I just happen
Mm.
to have an amazing support system, and I know everybody doesn't have that. And
Mm.
when you don't
Mm-hmm.
have
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that pushback, you have to love yourself enough to the same way
Mm.
they push, you push. Because ultimately you become a better you and for them. And a lot of
Absolutely.
times
Oh my God.
people
Yeah.
will
Mm-hmm.
initially, but then when they see you becoming the better you and see you
Mm.
be more valuable to them, I think it'll wake
Mm.
something up mind like, oh
Yep.
wow, yeah,
Yep.
mommy started doing this.
Yep.
She's been able to do this. She can come to my games now, and she's up there cheering at the games now. And before she was too tired to come come to my games. Now she's at all my games, and that sort of thing. So I think again, it's different from it's from case to case, but it's the same in result. When you take the time for yourself, you become a better you for you, and you become a better you for them.
Yes, absolutely. That's awesome. Oh my goodness. This is a great way to kind of like start to wrap it up. Um I guess my last question would be with, and it's probably going to be the same thing you just mentioned, but for those women who are in their 50s who are thinking, or maybe a little older, and who are thinking, you know what, that ship has sailed, forget it, I'm just going to be this way for the rest of my life. It's just what it is. What would you say to that lady who's listening to you right now?
Yeah, I have a huge passion for not just women, but people over 50. A huge passion. Um,
Mm,
it's never too late. It is never ever too late. And And when I talk to people about making lifestyle changes, I talk to younger people and I say to them, you don't have to wait. Don't wait. Do it now. You don't have to walk in my shoes. I already walked in them. I can already tell you what it was like. Spare you that trouble. You don't have to do it. I did it. I did it for you. Don't go there.
Yep.
And then I
Yep.
tell
Yeah, it's
other
true. It's
people, my
true. It's true.
yeah, you don't have to read my book, see what I went through, then you don't have to do it. And so, and then I tell
Yep.
other people my age and beyond, I am proof of what can be done. Let my
Mm,
story be proof to you what you can achieve. And I feel like, and it's not like woe is me, poor me, but I do feel like if I have gone through, I was on my way to 400 pounds, I was morbidly obese, I had high blood pressure, I had high cholesterol, arthritis, hypothyroidism, leukemia, if I had all of that going on, right, and I still pushed and got it done, you can too. So don't look at all the negatives about your life and tell yourself and use it to say why you can't. Look at those reasons as why you should. Use them as
yes.
motivators. So I use all my
Yes.
ailments as a motivator instead of an excuse. I'm just not big on
Yes.
excuses. They've never got me anywhere. And I'm just not big on excuses. So they are reasons and they are challenges and they're even hurdles at
Yep.
times. But again, they're
Yep.
motivators. It's like, okay, so I don't have high cholesterol anymore. I don't take high blood pressure, high cholesterol medicine anymore. And my arthritis is way better.
Mm,
It's not completely gone, but it's a lot better. So use those things as motivators to push forward and look at me and look at my life and use it as an example of what can be done if you set your mind to it.
oh, that is amazing. That is so awesome. Thank you so much, Miss Sheila. That is so awesome. I enjoyed speaking to you. I enjoyed reading your story and also enjoyed speaking to you about your story because we even got a little bit that may have not that wasn't even in the book. So that was awesome. So share with the audience how they can yeah, I know, right? So please share with the audience how they can find you on social media or yeah.
I am known on social media as SheJag. So on Instagram, I
Okay, so
am
now
at
how did you come up with that name?
okay. So SheJag is funny. I'm not into cars, but I do like one car, and that's the Jaguar. And when I was younger, I was like, one day when I get old, it's the 20 something me talking. When I get old, I'm
Mhm.
getting me a Jag. To me, it was a sophisticated car, something for older people, So I was like, yeah, when I get in my 50s or something, I'm gonna get me a
Yeah.
Jaguar. I'm gonna be old. And then one day I saw one on a used car lot. I was in my 30s and the price was right. And I was like, it was a beautiful black Jag. And I was like, I want that. I'm not old yet. I'm only 34 or something. And I went to the lot and I bought the car. And
That's
so I
awesome.
wanted a personalized plate. And Sheila's Jag wouldn't fit, but She Jag fit. I got She Jag on the license plate. And people started calling me that. I didn't know people were going to start calling me She
That's
Jag.
awesome.
But people calling me She Jag, and I started answering. So they're like, hey, She Jag, I'm like, hey. And it became my name. And then when social media came on, I made it my email address, and I was social media when it first started, and I didn't want to put my name on there. I was like, I don't know how this, not Facebook, but the other one, the very very first one. I don't know how this works, but I don't want to put my name on it. I don't know if
Okay,
this is
okay.
secure. So it was She Jag. I just kept it going. That's where She Jag
Well, that's nice. All right.
comes from. So it
That's awesome.
becoming a brand, ended up becoming a brand. So I never changed it. So it's at She Jag Inspires on Instagram. It's simply She Jag on Facebook.
Okay. Okay. And definitely guys as I mentioned you can also find her book on Amazon. Amazon.com. You can find her book. It's called Trapped Inside Myself: My Journey Out of the Obesity Prison. it's a great read. It's a short read, which you would appreciate, because I mean it's something that we can just sit and just like kind of like read in an afternoon, and then like really get inspired to start our own journey. So again, there's so much information in this, and this is so inspiring, not just to just people in their 50s and older, but even to in their 30s. Do not wait till you're 50 years old to start your journey. Start now. Because again, tomorrow's not promised. So you might want to say, "Oh, I'll wait till later," and we don't know when our time is up. So let's start now so that we can be the better versions of ourselves, so we can do the things that we know that we are meant to do on this planet Earth. So thank you again for watching. Thank you again, Miss Sheila, for being part of our show today. I really, really, really appreciate it. And guys, comment, subscribe to the channel, purchase Miss Sheila's book, and support and follow her on social media. Well, thank you so much, and I hope to hear from you in terms of what resonated with you the most in terms of her story. Thank you so much again for watching. Until next time, comment, subscribe. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye.